Good morning, Carolina. I'm Calista Pushman.
And I'm Will Kronsberg. Welcome back to a fifth week of Carolina Calendar. We're still here, not canceled, except next week you won't see us.
But we'll get to that. Otherwise, we are here every week keeping you up to date on what's happening on the USC campus and around Columbia.
This week on the show, we talk about how to weather spring break in Columbia or on vacation.
Looking for something to binge over break? We have a few suggestions sure to trigger the Are You Still Watching screen.
And later, baseball's all over the capital city this weekend. Stay tuned to find out where. Good morning, Calista. Even with students leaving town for spring break this weekend, I heard somebody pretty special is headed right here.
Yes, the Dance Moms high ponytail wearing living legend JoJo Siwa is in concert at Colonial Life. Tomorrow, March 5th, the show begins at 7 p.m. and you can still get your tickets. As I discovered before we started the show, I am stalking Ticketmaster for the best deals. Maybe you'll see me there.
I know that she danced on Dance Moms and Dancing with the Stars, but what is she performing?
From what I've seen across the world of TikTok, it's been glittery baseball costumes, some dancing, some long-winded speeches, and she sings, but I don't know what she sings. So, I mean, I might just go in blind and let you know.
I know that she had a couple relationships that were pretty big on TikTok. There was like the first one, and then they broke up, and it was a big thing. Then there was the second one, and TikTok shamed her into breaking up with that girl. So that's really all I know about JoJo Siwa, and that she didn't win Dance with the Stars, despite the fact that she was a literal dancer.
She was so good on Dancing with the Stars, though.
I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, if dancing or singing or glittery bows are not your taste, Eliza Schlesinger is back in action with the Back in Action tour. Now, she has one tour stop in North Charleston. That'll be next Thursday, March 10th, and tickets are as low as $38. So it's a good chance with school not in session next week to head down to North Charleston, about an hour and a half, and go see a really funny comedian.
So I'm seeing JoJo Siwa this weekend. I'm seeing Eliza next week. I've got a loaded spring break right now.
I mean, it sounds pretty good, despite the fact that there's really nothing else to do.
It's fine, because after spring break, so later in the month, Lion King is at the Koger Center, presented by Broadway in Columbia. It'll go from March 23rd to April 3rd. Now, I wouldn't say I'm a Broadway buff, but I enjoy my Broadway shows, and I haven't seen any here in Columbia, and I've never seen Lion King. It's definitely got to be one I got to go to.
I've seen a few Broadway shows and a few like local productions, but I've never seen a live action play of Lion King. I've seen the movie, but not probably in a decade plus. So it's been a while.
And I've heard the costuming is incredible because they do they're portraying animals and they have like these big headdresses. And I've just heard it's a spectacle to go see.
And finally, the last thing on our docket today, and actually the one that you'll see the soonest, is South Carolina Gamecocks and the Clemson Tigers have a baseball series this weekend. So the Palmetto series is back. It starts tonight at Founders Park, and then tomorrow at Segra Park, just down the road. That game will be tabbed the Battle of Bull Street. It'll be at 4 p.m. tomorrow. And these are two teams, both are doing really well. Clemson is undefeated. South Carolina has just one loss, but they've lost a lot of pitching, so I'm kind of worried if they'll be able to hang with Clemson for the entirety of the weekend.
I mean, there's nothing like a good rivalry to make me pay attention to baseball, I gotta say. It makes it exciting.
Well, later in the show, we'll get to why you should pay attention to college baseball more, but let's just say it's a traditional Carolina-Clemson thing, and I think it'll be exciting either way.
All right, well, I look forward to it, and I also look forward to what's coming up, where we'll tell you how to spring your break into action. Stay tuned. So it's the show before spring break. We've been kind of clear about that. And we just wanted to take the opportunity to talk about some of the best shows, at least I've already watched, for you guys to go home and binge watch, that Will hasn't taken my advice and binge watched yet, or shows that we've both taken a liking to.
That seemed like an unnecessary commentary, Calista.
I mean, Will hasn't watched Love is Blind. Yeah, I don't know if you said you watched, did you watch any of the seasons?
I have not watched Love is Blind. period. But I have a lot of time now, so
now you have to.
I'm sure I'll find something to occupy most of my time over spring break. It's just kind of how I am. But I'll try to watch Love is Blind. How many seasons are there?
There are 2 seasons. The reunion just came out today, which I will be watching immediately after this show. Very exciting. It's all the drama. Like, I mean, I'm a sucker for all those, like, try to find love type shows because they're always really, really funny. And this one is just really interesting because within a span of about like an hour of knowing someone, you get to marry them. It's very like, I know it was a 90-day fiance, but it meets like you don't see them and you propose through a wall. It's very bizarre, very exciting. Highly recommend. You can get through it really, really quick.
No offense to the people who made the show or anybody who's been on it, but was it created by divorce lawyers? Like, this is a perfect formula. It's like the whole stat is like 50% of marriages end in divorces. This is a perfect formula to like, 60, 75.
It is pretty good at doing that. I mean, like, some people end up lasting. Some people end up lasting
good.
that shouldn't end up lasting.
That's
but
not so good.
It's all for you to find out. But that's definitely a good one. If you're looking for just a documentary or a movie, I've hiked with the Tinder Swindler so much. As someone who loves her true crime podcasts, falls asleep to them every night.
It's not problematic at all, guys.
Now you're calling me out.
It's one for one, an eye for an eye.
Okay, it's fair. We keep things even on this lovely unscripted portion of the show.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm more of the sitcom or maybe like a nice rom-com kind of person. So I'm thinking about, I know I have the 2nd season of Space Force. The 1st season came out like a year and a half ago, it feels like. But it's just a show about the beginnings of the 6th branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, but it's like a funny take on it. So it has Steve Carell from The Office. And
you can't go wrong with that.
No, I mean, it's really solid. And I think the context in which the actual Space Force was created kind of lent itself to a sitcom. So it's pretty good.
It wrote itself. It wrote itself.
I know a lot of people have said that the show itself isn't very good, but I think the context kind of makes up for it. And I think it's funny. It's like that dumb humor where you're like, this is not well made, but I'm gonna watch it anyway.
But that's the whole point with binging shows. It's something brainless, mindless to watch and have a good time with. And I'll pick one more show to chat about. I think we could both agree on Lovin'. You already finished it. I'm working on it. Newsroom, very meta for us news people, but it was. HBO Max. I mean, I steal my Aunt Cindy's. Shout out to Aunt Cindy for letting me take her password. But it has been the best use of the account besides Euphoria.
Obviously, Euphoria is number one. Though I will say, I first got onto HBO Max to watch Newsroom when it got through all 3 seasons of it. The 3rd one is too short, and it doesn't quench my thirst, and I think they should bring it back. It ended in 2012, which makes me really sad. But then, of course, I started watching Euphoria because it was already there. But yeah, Newsroom is really good. I think, oddly enough, I've kind of learned some actual journalism things from it. I think it's helped me this semester after I watched it over the winter break. So that's been really beneficial. Also, of course, the fact that we do a news show, it
hits right. I mean, sometimes I feel like it has the same energy as a doctor being like, oh my God, I learned so much from Grey's Anatomy. But I think this one better lends itself to the real world equivalent.
That's a good point. Well, anyway, coming up after the break, we will talk about the weather in Columbia and how to stay safe over spring break. Welcome back. If you're planning to kick it in the capital city over break, you can expect some hotter temperatures to begin the week before rain eventually rolls in.
Yes, the highs will reach the high 70s and low 80s the next 4 days. But starting Wednesday, go ahead and have your umbrellas at the ready.
So I say if you're in Columbia next week, do some exploring and plan some day trips or inside activities for the back half of your week. With that said, let's shift to our new little segment. Will and Calista each talk about one thing. I think that's the working title. And I want to talk about, I alluded to it earlier, this kind of college baseball is what slaps. And that's the official title for it. College baseball is what slaps. And I think I've told you this before, but back when I was in high school, prolific writer for my high school newspaper, shout out to the Academic Magnet High School Talon, I wrote an article called College Baseball is What Slaps. And I worked with a fellow writer on staff named Ember, and we kind of talked about this concept of something I discussed with my brothers 2 or 3 weeks before about music. And there's some music that are bops versus bangers, and then of course there's music that just slaps.
Of course.
So we're talking about what is the difference, how do you justify this? We're talking about, things that slap are just kind of it. And it's the spring of 2020 pre-COVID, and I'm like, okay, college baseball is what slaps, because I have a passion for college baseball and nobody else does, apparently.
I would have never known.
I know, right? Nobody else does apparently, but some points that I brought up are the fact that, you have all that college pageantry that you get with like college football, but none of the, no 80,000 people that you have to deal with, no people, passing out of Williams-Brice or anything bad like that. Plus, it's baseball. I love baseball, obviously. And like I mentioned, we have the Carolina-Clemson series coming up. So that's just kind of my one thing that always hits me come springtime. I just want to watch college baseball all day.
No, it's very exciting. Well, you're going to slowly get me into it. I know it's going to happen. I have the potential to enjoy college baseball. I've never been a college sports person in general until I came here. And I've just been adding sports to my little mental resume, repertoire, whatever word you want to pop in there that makes more sense than what I just came up with.
I have that effect on people, even though the year is 2022, and it's taken me all of these years. Back in 2010, I got into college sports, and now some members of my family actually care. My brother loves college basketball now. He calls me, he texts me about it, things that I didn't know. And it took 12 years, but we're here.
That's
so
exciting.
You're next.
It's special, and it's possible. Don't give me that. But no, if I can like baseball, I'm gonna get you to like hockey, and it'll be perfect.
Fair enough. We can make that trade-off.
There we go.
All right, what do you have for us?
I'm still on the spring break train. My whole thing, all of my 2 roommates, they're gone. They're one's in New York, one's in Florida, boyfriend's in England for the entire time. So I'm like, you're going to Charleston. So I'm like, what do I do with myself? I have so many indoor craft plans. If anyone else has any plans for what I should craft in my apartment or cook in my apartment while I'm by myself, that sounds really sad. I'm gonna have a great time, but
you can craft some JoJo Siwa merch for the show.
Oh, suddenly? Granted, I don't know if I want to clean up that much glitter by myself.
Fair enough.
But it could be very, very worth it once I get this ticket immediately after filming. But it'll be a great spring break. And of course, the only sad thing is not having a show next Friday. What are we going to do?
I think all of our viewing audience is going to be very sad because this is the kind of content that everyone looks forward to. I personally am going to be very sad, even though I've been on that SGTV train hard for the last 5 weeks. We've been doing shows every 5 days a week at least. And I think a little bit of me is I could totally use a break. But I know by the time we get back to campus in 10 days, I'm really going to be missing this. So our show in 2 weeks is going to be better than ever.
Oh yeah, you've got a lot to look forward to.
I feel like we're really building it up, and I don't know if we can meet those expectations.
We sure are gonna try. But until then,
that will wrap up Carolina Calendar for today, March 4th.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SGTV at USC.
To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4, I'm Will Kronsberg.
And I'm Calista Pushman. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great weekend and a great spring break, Carolina, forever to be.